Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Sanders indeed won a smashing across-the-board victory. He won among men and women, college graduates and non-college graduates, liberals and moderate/conservatives, union and non-union members, people who decided early and people who decided late. In short, Sanders crushed it. And in doing so, he may have crushed the hopes of a Democratic establishment desperate to stop.
What happens? It's the question. It's been going around over and over again. People are waiting for Bernie to look. I never thought Bernie was going to falter. I never thought Bernie was going to fall away. I think it may be tough for him to win, but I never count him out. Let's be real here. He, in the face of a ton of adversity and more than a few walls thrown up against him in the last primary season when he ran against Hillary Clinton, almost got over the line. Almost. This time, he's learned from his mistakes. He's got a ton of energy behind him. And people are liking the fact that he's very much the opposite of Trump. He's 180 degrees, yet at the same time, he's 360 degrees, meaning there's a lot of him that is like Trump, down with the establishment. That's him. He wants to get rid of the establishment. Trump wanted to clean out the swamp. Same thing. Same thing. Right? I'm going to get rid of the swamp. He wants to get rid of the establishment. The difference between them, though, is how they approach things. One is he's just an absolute capitalist, cross the board, period, case closed. The other one is anything but. But how does he get stopped? That's the big question. Because at this point in time, his win in Nevada has easily solidified him number one. South Carolina is big. If he wins there, I don't know.
Look, this is extraordinary. Nobody 6 months ago thought we'd be sitting here with Bernie Sanders on his way to the nomination. He's on his way to the nomination. Now, something could happen to stop him. Somebody might have some marbles to throw on the stairs or banana peel. They better find it.
Money?
They better find it because this guy is off and running.
Yeah, he is. He's off and running. And I hear everybody saying all kinds of, there's no way, there's no way. Look, I never, ever, 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 ever will say never. Remember who our president is. Let's just remember that right now. Who the president of the United States is. It's Donald Trump. Nobody thought Donald Trump could win. Nobody thought Donald Trump had a chance. Nobody thought. And then he wiped the floor clean with all of those Republicans, those establishment, big name Republicans who had establishment money behind him, who had the machine, and Trump flipped the script on them. And then he went and he won. And he became president.
Republicans are salivating at the prospect of Bernie Sanders, a Democratic socialist, as the Democratic nominee. I would simply caution them. I remember an awful lot of Democrats very excited at the prospect of Donald Trump as the Republican nominee in 2016. That didn't work out too well.
Exactly.
Yeah. Chris Wallace is right. Be careful what you wish for. I did a show earlier today with somebody who brought me on to ask some questions, and I said, look, let me tell you something. Everybody's saying it can't happen. I'm saying it absolutely can happen. It absolutely, positively can happen. Does it mean it's going to? I don't know. It's still early in. He's still missing some components that will help him get across the line. But can it happen? Oh, you bet it can. And that youth vote, if they're energized and they continue to come out for him, remember, that millennial generation is the largest generation. The thing with that millennial generation, though, is they're inconsistent. The older generation is consistent. They'll show up. And the one thing they will do is show up to vote against socialism.
He's done something extraordinary. This is a youth quake. You got a new generation stepping up. They're not scared of any of these ideas, and they're tired of hearing Republicans call everything that we say socialist. So they've ruined the word socialist. It doesn't mean anything for the younger people. You've got the Latinos stepping up now in a major way behind Bernie Sanders. He's running as if he's a Latino candidate now. And these ideas are no longer as scary to a whole bunch of Democratic voters.
But the problem is because they're not educated on it. You go to school nowadays, you don't hear about the bad side of socialism. right? They try to tell you it's all about being like Denmark. It's all about being like Sweden, the Scandinavian, the Nordic model. They don't talk to you about Venezuela. They don't talk to you about a lot of different things that go on elsewhere. They don't talk about what that looks like. They don't talk about this.
According to a study from the UN World Food Program, 1 in every 3 people in Venezuela is struggling to put enough food on the table to meet minimum nutrition requirements as the nation's severe economic contraction and political upheaval continues. 8,375 questionnaires were sent out nationwide. A large number of Venezuelans live on a diet that consists mostly of vegetables and beans, as hyperinflation makes many salaries worthless.
Think about that. Hyperinflation makes many salaries worthless. Meaning you're going to work, you're earning X amount of dollars, right? Whatever currency you're in, and it's worthless because hyperinflation's made it so it doesn't matter how much you earn. The inflation side of it has made everything out of reach. They don't learn that. It's all about the good. It's all about all of the Nordic model. I'm telling you guys. I posted a meme a little bit earlier, or a cartoon, a political cartoon on Twitter. Check it out. But there's the wolf, and then there's a sheep above the wolf. That is the reality of a lot of it. Bernie is anything but a capitalist. He's anything but free market. And we'll talk more about that later and how he, I think, last night on 60 Minutes, when it comes to one state, if he is the nominee, blew that opportunity right there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. All of this going on, all of this nastiness. Guess what's happening? Huge issues in places like Italy because of the coronavirus, South Korea as well.
South Korea declaring a code red, the highest alert for infectious diseases, with more than 600 confirmed cases of COVID-19, nearly half linked to a single church group in the city of Daegu. And now Italy, racing to contain the largest outbreak outside Asia, more than 150 confirmed cases and 3 deaths. At least a dozen towns in northern Italy now on lockdown. Store shelves emptying in Milan.
Is that insane? So you got 50,000 people. Who knows how many really around the globe? Couldn't tell you. People are in lockdown. Cities. And the big question Italy is, where the hell did it come from? Nobody knows. Right? They're trying to piece this. Where's patient zero? Who's patient zero? How did it get here? Where did it come from? How did it arrive on our shores? How did it get to this place? And what's the potential? Look at the markets. They're on shaky ground right now. They're very nervous. It's ugly. Asia, in particular China, second largest economy on the globe. So think about that for a second. It is a trickle-down effect which could have huge ramifications. And if it spreads and continues to do so, and we're talking about Italy. We're not talking about some third world country where you're not quite sure, but somebody traveled between here and there, they snuck in. We're talking about South Korea and Italy, and the question of how did it arrive here on our shores, and where do we go from here? That is crazy. It is. And I don't know what this looks like if it continues to spread and what kind of impact this will have on the global economy. But it'll be big.
The memorial at Staples Center in downtown Los Angeles.
God, I love you guys.
It's where Kobe Bryant gave that now famous speech when he retired in 2016, and where 2 of his jerseys, numbers 8 and 24, are retired. Staples Center opened in 1999, 3 years into Bryant's career as a Laker, and it's where he won all 5 of his NBA championships, and it's where 20,000 fans, friends, and family members will gather to say goodbye one last time. The celebration of life will be broadcast all over the world.
Mamba out.
Yeah, so that's going to be today. They handed out 20,000 tickets. There is no memorial program, apparently, but it'll be filled today to the rafters at the Staples Center, and I expect many other people outside. It's going to be globally. It's going to be all over the place. You know, it's been a month, and it's still weird, right? Like, you know, the height of his life Yeah, even though he was a star 10, 15 years ago at the height of his game, here's a guy, early 40s, had everything in front of him. His second act was potentially going to be bigger than his first act. And like that, he and 8 others lost their life. Questions still to be answered about exactly what took place on that day. We'll see how big it is today. I think this thing's going to be huge, though. I do. I absolutely do. And again, they were laid to rest a few weeks ago, quietly. They wanted no media, anything like that. It was quiet. Apparently his wife's going to be there today as well. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Hope you had a good weekend. Oh, man. I tell you what, I'm going to talk to Ernesto a little bit later today. He's the guy that founded Wounded Paw Project. We talk because they're getting in. It's growing so fast that they're putting in more and more animal shelters that are helping them find dogs that would be perfect matches to go from shelter dogs to service dogs. And it is incredible what they're doing. Their works are amazing. And I get more people to hit me up and go, thank you so much for turning me on to them. What they're doing is incredible. So let me give you a quick backstory. Wounded Paw Project, founded by Ernesto, not because he got a service dog, but because he rescued a dog named Daisy. And Daisy changed his life after he got home and he was injured in the war. And the next thing you know, he realized too many young men and women are coming home and struggling, both with injuries and PTSD, and they have nothing. He put one and one together, founded the Wounded Paw Project, and there, it's just so simple. All they want to do is connect the furry best friends and the nation's heroes. And that's exactly what to do. Their motto is to save a paw, is to save a life. Donating is easy. Proceeds are used to protect, advocate, and transform shelter dogs into service dogs for veterans, first responders, and their families. On top of that, you get a great tax-deductible write-off. It is amazing. To learn more about donating your vehicle to Wounded Paw Project, call 844-678-4PAW, 844-678-4729. So take action today. Turn your extra car, truck, RV, even a boat into a vehicle for change. You're going to be saving a paw to save a life. Check them out at woundedpawproject.org. Woundedpawproject.org. Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
Namaste, Trump. Namaste, Trump. Namaste, Trump. Namaste, Trump. India-USA friendship. USA friendship. प्रेसिडेंट डोनाल्ड ट्रंप अपनी ऐतिहासिक भारत यात्रा का आरंभ अहमदाबाद में नमस्ते ट्रंप से कर रहे हैं.
Namaste. Namaste. And hello to India.
Let's get this party started. Trump's in India. 130,000 people today at the cricket field. He was hinting at all kinds of stuff, having a good time, soaking it up.
We are in the early stages of discussion for an incredible trade agreement to reduce barriers of investment between the United States and India.
Yeah, doing Trump stuff, talking about all kinds of stuff. It's kind of funny. Went after all kinds of things, right? Not only that was he hinting about that, but also talked about, ISIS and vetting foreigners and the whole 9 yards.
We have also made clear that while our country will always welcome newcomers who share our values and love our people, our borders will always be closed to terrorists and terrorism and to any form of extremism. That is why we have taken historic steps to improve screening and vetting of applications for entry, and we are working to ensure that anyone who threatens the security of our citizens is denied admission and will pay a very, very big, costly price.
Ooh. He's right. We should always want that, right? I listen to everybody on the left side of the aisle talk about basically open borders, but not open borders, but come on in and just don't do anything. And I got zero problems with vetting, and I'm okay with opening our borders to a certain extent. I don't think anybody, we need workers. There's a lot of things that we need. especially because much like a lot of the Western world and even some places like Japan on the east side of it, if you will, they're not producing workers and another generation. So it is important. But Trump's right about one thing. It's important to get the right people here. But it's funny because the whole time he's in India, all everyone, wonder what he's going to eat. Because you can't have beef, obviously. Something that they're not going to eat. The cows are sacred over there. He's not going to be eating any beef. I'm sure Trump will figure it out. I'm sure in some way, shape, or form, he will figure it out. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Love hearing from you. Russia. Now, not just Trump.
The American people should support their candidates. If you're a Trump supporter, you're a Bernie Sanders supporter, you should be you should support that candidate. But on the other hand, you have a responsibility to understand that a lot of the information that's being pushed out over social media, a lot of the information that's being put forth in our political discourse is inaccurate, or it's disinformation being put out into the network, into the environment by a hostile foreign country. So don't just believe what you're seeing online. Go find out what is the accurate story.
Which nobody does. Because in a world where we have now sealed ourselves from information because we choose affirmation over that, nobody's going to go check. If they want to believe something and they see it and they think it to be real, they're not going to go against their own beliefs. They're not. They don't want to. Because it's being shared by somebody they see as a reputable source, a friend, a news area, some sort of news site that they go to. So they're not going to do that. And guess what? Something I've said all along, continue to say. They don't care who wins the election, the Russians. They care about making sure that we have chaos and we're at each other's throat, and it's winning. They're not going to stop helping Bernie. Why? Because they see Bernie as what could potentially be chaos and a battle, not just with Republicans, but also within the Democratic Party. They enjoy this stuff. They do. And I don't think it's stopping anytime soon at all. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. He was a daredevil, but he's a daredevil no more. We'll talk about that. Plus Bernie on 60 Minutes, Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Bernie, on the other hand, did his job. He got more than a majority of that 67%. That is the name of the game. It is pretty much over unless that changes. I was reading last night, Brian, I know you're a history guy too. I'm reading last night about the fall of France in the summer of 1940. And the general, Renault, calls up Churchill and says, it's over. And Churchill said, how can it be? You got the greatest army in Europe. How can it be over? He said, it's over.
I don't know if it's over yet. I think South Carolina will be interesting this week. Tomorrow night they have a debate. Bloomberg may have another chance to right the ship a little bit. Super Tuesdays where it's really at. But with the growing momentum Bernie has, we're very much a country that likes to get on a bandwagon. Is it a possibility that he does really well and actually beats Biden in South Carolina? If that happens, it is over. If that happens, it is absolutely over. Clyburn, the most influential Democrat in South Carolina, threw his support behind Biden. But if somehow Bernie manages to take the momentum he has from the first two caucuses, and then the primary, and this make it the fourth, and he manages to eke a win here, Super Tuesday, he may pick up 800 or 1,000. He may be putting this thing to bed, and you will have what the media would love, by the way. Media would love the socialist versus the uber capitalist, and Trump versus Bernie. And what you also have is two people that are completely reshaping their parties. Even though Bernie is not a Democrat, let's all remind everybody he is an independent, and Trump is a Trumpocrat. That's the reality of it. So it'll be very interesting to see how this thing plays itself out. The media would love that, though. They would absolutely love that. As for the Democrats,
sounds a lot like political suicide, and I think we need a psychologist to understand that. I want to understand what the psychology could be behind the Bernie alternative's rise. I mean, this would seem like the hitting the bottom is the way most people begin to recover. I mean, this would be this big in Nevada for Bernie. If there's going to be a wake-up call, maybe this would be it, if that's the way it heads.
I don't know. I don't know what it looks like. They're going left, left, left. Who would have thought that Obama would be a moderate, but he is for all intents and purposes. And at what point in time does he stand up and say, I got to make my voice heard? Because, and I think that's going to happen sooner rather than later. I think what he's going to do is he's going to wait till this weekend. And if Biden doesn't have it, he's going to throw all his power that he has, and if any influence he still has in the party, behind Buttigieg. But we'll have to see how it plays out tomorrow night. But it's going to be very, very interesting for sure, because it's not just Bernie. And I continue to tell people, it is also the down ballot, down ticket, right? So you go and you look. You're going to energize people to come out and vote, who may otherwise stay home because they're not thrilled with Trump, but they really don't have any emotion towards a Biden or a Buttigieg or an Elizabeth Warren. So maybe they don't come out, maybe they do. But the older generation tends to be pretty consistent. And if they come out and they look like Bernie's going to win, it could adversely affect all those down ballot races where people would say, well, we've got, even though he may win, I've got to keep him in check. I've got to keep him in check. We're going to have to figure out how to keep the House close and make sure the Senate stays the way it is, or maybe even flip the House and keep the Senate, because there's no way that we can allow this guy to just come in here and talk about doing all of these things to the tunes of several $1 trillion a year and reshaping what made America America. Speaking of what made America America, crazy ideas. They don't always work. Case in point, Mad Mike.
Nicknamed Mad Mike Hughes, he said he wanted to fly to the edge of outer space to see if the world is round. Hughes built and boarded a steam-powered rocket over the weekend. A video by TMZ shows it blasting off from private property in the Barstow, California desert. A parachute tearing off. It hurtles straight up, then in about 10 seconds, the rocket plummets straight down and crashes. He was 64. Hughes was also a limousine driver who held the Guinness World Record for longest limousine ramp jump, 103 feet.
Yeah, so you got that going for you, right? Gone but not forgotten. So check this out. This guy was totally a flat earther. So my beauty of America. Crazy ideas. Don't always go well. There's a reason we have a Darwin Award. This is one of those things. Here's your reward. So there's a show coming out on the Science Channel that he was supposed to be featured as homemade astronauts. Right? So this whole thing, this guy thought, Mad Mike, he thought, the Earth is flat. I'm going to get up there and I'm going to take photos to show the world that the Earth is flat and that it's being guarded and that none of this stuff is real. Right? None of this stuff is real. Nothing. Right? Now, he was only going to go 5,000 feet in the air. I'm not quite sure if he's been in an airplane, but the last time I was in an airplane, it went a little higher. But he wanted to show the world that the Earth indeed was flat. And he went straight up in the air, and he went straight down. And it was, knowing that that parachute that was going to help you was gone, ugh. What makes America great. Also makes America go, is something like that. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. You can text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. We need to watch what's going on with the coronavirus. I continue to tell people that I'm looking first and foremost at what the potential may be with the Olympics. That is still dangling out there.
The Olympic Committee apparently deciding to postpone the training of tens of thousands of volunteers in Tokyo for this summer's games, although they're insisting the Olympics themselves will still be held.
July 24th, it kicks off. They got 9 million plus visitors last year from China. They postponed the Tokyo Marathon, which is one of the big qualifiers there that everybody wanted to go to. They're now, slowly but surely, saying that they spent $24 billion on this. On top of that, how many other billions of dollars have been spent by TV conglomerates and people around the globe to get ready for this? They've expanded the airports. They've expanded hotels and added more rooms. They've done all of these things, and this could get ugly. But what's it really look like? That is just it. How much can we believe China in a lot of this stuff?
You know, there's been, for the last 4 or 5 days, a decrease in the number of new cases each day. But we also heard Xi Jinping, the Chinese ruler, at a Politburo meeting yesterday, said that the coronavirus has not peaked. You just cannot put those two pieces of information and say they're consistent. I think officials are just manufacturing numbers. They've changed the methodology twice this week, 3 times within the last 10 days. As you learn more about a virus, you sort of redefine what a case is. But nonetheless, there's a lot of deliberate falsification.
Yeah. Nobody trusts China at all. And why should you? They're talking about $250 billion lost globally because of this. Almost $300 billion. China's GDP is going to drop to 4.5%. And the spread of it's very, 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 very real. And when we talk about the global impact and people think about, you're thinking of numbers, you got to think of it 2 ways. The impact to individuals and to areas and regions and countries who are not set up for this when it comes to the medical side of it. Then there's the other side of it, which is the trickle-down effect into the economy.
Xi Jinping wants China to go back to work. And when you put employees back to work at a point where there really is no control of the virus, it's going to spread further.
And so right on top of each other. These
right
factories,
on top of each
they're
other.
Pretty densely packed.
So what you're going to have is essentially there'll be an increase in output, and that'll make the GDP numbers look a little bit better, but then it's going to prolong the virus.
Yeah. How long? Don't know. They're talking well into next year, potentially, that this could go. That is insane. And what do they have? What is it really? How much can we trust them? I don't trust them. Do you?
The markets are not taking into account how serious this is. I think they're sort of putting too much faith in what Beijing says about this. And that's sort of natural. You know, that's
all we have to go on.
Yeah, all you have to go on. I mean, I believe that the regime is just not prepared to tell the truth. They're not allowing the World Health Organization team into Wuhan, and that means it looks like they've got something to hide.
Yeah. What is it? Don't know. Don't know. But look at what's going on in places like Italy, and that's scary when you think about they don't know how it got here. There's no link. There's no zero. This is something very real. And without patient zero, without figuring out how it got there, without some plausible, and you're talking about 50,000 people? Come on.
Italy now say that 5 people have died from the virus. It's risen to 219 very quickly.
That's what's really worrying is how quickly this has exploded. We've gone from like less than 5 cases at the end of last week to these 219 confirmed just now. Some 10 towns at the very least are under this quarantine with 50,000 people here in northern Italy, essentially trapped inside their towns that they still haven't identified who patient zero is, which means that they don't know how it got here. They don't know how it's spreading, nor how quickly it's likely to spread, nor even how widely it may have spread already.
Yeah. So, and the trickle-down effect, the economy, trickle-down effect of shutting down certain things, cutting off supply lines and supply chains that would come here, and how it affects everybody inch by inch, and you start to feel it. You'll start to feel it. Not now, but if it gets worse. And when you start to look at it and you start to see that you're looking at 50,000 people essentially being cut off there in Italy, how fast we can go from point A to point B today, And what this thing really is, nuts. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program. Brand new from MyPillow. Soft, beautiful bath towels that really work. I mean that. They absolutely work. Extra soft, super absorbent, luxury feel, luxury look, 5 designer colors. I love mine. My gray. I got gray ones. They're awesome. They're just, there's no cheap fillers or cheap softener crap. None of that stuff in there. It's 100% USA made cotton. And when you wash them, they are still amazing. A lot of times you buy towels that are really neat. You put them in there, they don't work, or they're not absorbent. And people are like, what's that supposed to mean? You ever had a towel where you go to dry yourself off and the towel doesn't really absorb it? It just kind of keeps it on the surface. And yeah, not with these. You're going to love these. 60-day money-back guarantee. 30% right now is what you get. 30% off. So simple, so easy. Go to MyPillow.com. Check out the new radio listener special. You're going to save 30% on these amazing towels. All you have to do is enter promo code Benson or call 800-983-4975 and give them that promo code Benson. You get 30% off and a 60-day money-back guarantee. MyPillow.com, new radio listener special, 30% off. Enter promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Nailed it! After a tighter than expected box office battle, Sonic the Hedgehog held on to the top spot for a second consecutive weekend, earning another $26.3 million. That also pushes it over the $100 million domestic earnings mark.
The Yukon is a dangerous place.
Harrison Ford's The Call of the Wild is right on Sonic's heels, debuting at second with a better than expected $25 million. Even so, it'll have to make $125 million or more just to break even.
What? Yeah, it's not going to happen. Not a lot going on. Still quiet time of the year at the box office in the entertainment world. Just quiet time. Stuff will start to heat up soon, right? March, you've got some big stuff coming out, which is not too far away. Just think about this time next week. It's March, and it's also a day before Super Tuesday. So soak that up for a second. That's how close we are till Super Tuesday and to March. I mean, February and January just flew by. We're into March already. Christmas and New Year is that's a long gone memory. We are hitting it hard for sure. Speaking of memories, I love memories. Now imagine this, right? So every hockey game, there are actually 5 goalies. Every NHL game, there are 5 goalies. There are 2 for each team, and then there is an emergency goalie. An emergency goalie is usually somebody who is probably played college or minor league hockey, right? Has some skills, but never really made it. A little bit older, but enjoys being around the rink. A lot of times they'll bring goalies in to practice with minor league and NHL teams just to add another, somebody who's close by. And they probably play in a men's league somewhere, usually an upper tier men's league. So they're pretty good. So David Ayres, he's a Zamboni driver for the Maple Leafs. And he also is a guy who comes in and he works with the Marlies, which is Toronto's minor league AHL team. That's like AAA baseball. He's sitting inside, relaxing, enjoying himself, watching the game, figuring nothing else is going on between the Canes and the Maple Leafs. And then, are you ready for this? Now imagine this, guys. Imagine this. Just relax, enjoying the game.
Someone came into the room and like, hey, you better get dressed. Hey, you're going out there. So I was a little shocked, but I'm loving it.
Yeah, little shocked, but loving every second of it. Told, hey, dude, you got to suit up. So he suits up wearing a full hurricane outfit, but he's got a Toronto Marlies helmet on and, just relaxing, enjoying himself. And
It's been great. Obviously, that second period was a little shaky, but I told the boys in the dressing room, once we come up for the third, I'll be settled down and ready to win this one.
He gave up 2 goals on the first 2 shots. 2 goals in the first 2 shots. And one of the Carolina Canes came up to him and said, dude, just have fun. Enjoy it. We don't care if you give up 10 goals. Just relax, have fun, enjoy yourself.
It was awesome. Obviously, the time of my life out there. I've been on this ice many times without fans. Put fans in the mix, and it's a whole different game, obviously. But, hey, once in a lifetime, I'll take it.
Yep. 42 years old, NHL debut. He stopped all 8 shots in the third. Carolina wins 6-3. He gets the win, gets to keep his equipment, his jersey and everything, and gets a $500 NHL check. Doesn't suck. Like, that right there is a story. They said he came to the ice expecting to relax, drive the Zamboni machine, and eat dinner. He got the win. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program straight to me directly. Check out the Instagram. Go to thechadshow.com. There you can find out where you can go to TuneIn Radio. Grab yourself the podcast. Listen back to what you missed. This is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
In Nevada, we have just put together a multi-generational, multi-racial coalition, which is going to not only win in Nevada, it's going to sweep this country.
Sweeping the country, Bernie wins again, Bernie. So he's 1-2. And essentially tied 1. Iowa's not done, by the way. I mean, it's, I don't think anything's going to change, but they're supposed to have, quote unquote, all of the stuff counted again and recounted this week. I don't know how much anybody believes any of that. But the reality is it's getting there. But Bernie's got full momentum. Bernie has full momentum. And he is plowing through everybody there is out there at this moment in time. He's got his Bernie bros. He's got the momentum of a younger generation that is behind him.
The hungriest community usually gets the nomination. You know, when African-American voters saw that Barack Obama was viable in Iowa, there was no way they were going to do anything but make sure that that man was the nominee and make sure he was president of the United States. And on the Republican side, even though Donald Trump did not have a majority, the hungry constituency were white, a lot of white ethnic voters who said, we're taking this country back from the brown people, the immigrants, we're getting rid of unlawful migration. We don't care what you say, the smarty pantses, the college educated, forget them. We're the hungriest.
Joy Reid. She's just fun. she's awesome, right? Isn't she? So full of crap. But she's right about them being the hungriest. Because they want all the free stuff. I mean, he came out, he's got free stuff all over, okay? Before kindergarten now. We're looking at pre-K child care. We're looking at, we have tons of stuff. There's so much stuff to give away. It is awesome. Where it comes from, I do not know. But it's coming. He's ready to dole it on out.
Sanders says the change he envisions most closely resembles Scandinavian and European countries with democratic governments and comprehensive social programs. But that's certainly not how President Trump has characterized it.
Well, I think he's a communist.
Only millions of people standing up for justice can bring about the kind of change that this country requires.
And it's not just President Trump.
I'm not going to throw out capitalism. We tried that. Other countries tried that. It was called communism, and it just didn't work.
Oh. Bloomberg last week, one of his few punches that landed. And he's right. Last night on on 60 Minutes, Anderson Cooper and him sat down and they went through everything. And he could talk about the Scandinavian side of things. But one thing he did is he waved goodbye, if he's the nominee, to Florida, because once again,
he educated the kids, gave them health care, totally transformed the society.
We're very opposed to the authoritarian nature of Cuba. But, it's unfair to simply say everything is bad. When Fidel Castro came into office, you know what he did? He had a massive literacy program. Is that a bad thing, even though Fidel Castro did it?
There's a lot of dissidents imprisoned in Cuba.
That's right, and we condemn that. Unlike Donald Trump, let's be clear, I do not think that Kim Jong-un is a good friend. I don't trade love letters with a murdering dictator. Vladimir Putin, not a great friend of mine.
Bye, Florida. Bye. Bye. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I mean, you could go back and look at every dictator in some way, shape, or form. They've done something. Every totalitarian, every fascist regime. You can go back and look at Hitler and say, well, he built the roads. He did a few of these things, put a lot of people back to work before everything went crazy. Why? He didn't tell everybody he was going to do, because that all said, no way. Hell no. You can go back and look. So what? He gave them health care and he taught them all to read, all so they could understand that their life sucked and you're going to live long life, enduring the hell that Che Guevara, Castro, and many others put you under? What are you thinking? And again, socialist. He has said it over and over again, what he is not. What he is not. This was him on Phil Donahue. Remember Phil Donahue? One of the first talk show that was out. You had Mike Douglas, like daytime. Then you had Phil Donahue. And Bernie was on there, those many years ago, talking about what he is.
Are you a capitalist?
No, I'm not a capitalist.
So you don't believe in the profit motive, free enterprise? If I have a better mousetrap, I make more money.
There's something to be said for free enterprise on a local level and competition. But what we're happening in our society is we don't live in a free enterprise society. You live in a corporate capitalist society where in virtually every single industry you have giant multi-billion-dollar corporations competing, driving the small businessman out.
Yeah. I'm telling you guys, he is not all he's cracked up to be when you talk about a lot of stuff like this. He isn't. And then there's the price of all of his stuff. Like, what's this going to cost us all? We'd like to know.
Do you have a price tag for all of this?
We do. The price tag is, it will be substantially less than letting the current system go. I think it's about $30 trillion.
That's just for Medicare for all.
Just Medicare for all. Yes.
Do you have a price tag for all of these things?
No, I don't. We try to. No, you mentioned making public colleges and universities tuition free and canceling all student debt. That's correct. That's what I want to do. We pay for that through a modest tax on Wall Street speculation.
Okay, you're going to pay for that. I love this. Modest. He doesn't know. That's the thing. He doesn't know. It's going to be cheaper is not the answer. He doesn't know. And you know what? He doesn't care either. He doesn't care. He sits there. Oh, do you know that Bloomberg's trying to buy this? Bloomberg's trying to buy this. This is what he's trying to do. He's trying to buy this. He's trying to buy it. No, you're trying to buy it. You're trying to use other people's money to get yourself to the White House so you can have your revolution by giving away other people's money. Eventually, though, as Margaret Thatcher said, you will run out of other people's money. Then what?
But you say you don't know what the total price is, but you know how it's going to be paid for. How do you know it's going to be paid for if you don't know how much the price is?
Well, I can't rattle off to you every nickel and every dime, but we have accounted for it. You talked about Medicare for all. We have options out there that will pay for it.
What are your options? We're just curious. This is the part that should be striking for everybody, right? It's a fair question. How are you going to pay for it? What are you going to do? How are you going to pay for this? Tell me now, as your Nordic dream, as you're trying to build here, this massive Nordic dream of this amazing, everybody gets a unicorn. Everybody gets everything they've ever dreamed of. Somebody's going to have to pay for it. If you know anything about Scandinavia, they all pay for it. Average tax rate in Scandinavia is anywhere between 45 and about 65%. Because it's not just your taxes that cost things. They eventually had to put on value-added tax everywhere, VAT, meaning they put on 20+% on every purchase you make. Could you imagine that here with sales tax for local municipalities and state tax as well? Just curious how that works.
What we are calling for is universal child care.
How are you going to pay for this?
We have a tax on wealth to pay for that.
For all the people who like the idea of it, there are going to be a lot of Democrats again who are saying, well, wait a minute, yet again, this is another program that it's not clear how it's going to get paid for.
No,
it's just going to add to...
It is clear how it's going to be paid for. Look, Anderson...
It's just more taxes.
It's taxes on billionaires, you know? I get a little bit tired of hearing my opponents saying, gee, how are you going to pay for a program that helps children or working class families or middle class families? How are you going to pay for that?
Because it's a fair question. Because if you rob other working middle-class families to pay for everybody else's crap, they have a right to know. You're giving away somebody else's hard-earned money and dreams. It's fair to ask the damn question. Because you don't know. You have no idea what this would cost. And if it unravels, you don't care. It's all about making government the central figure in everything that you do. That's what it is. It's about making government God. It's about making government everything that you have to turn for. That's what they want. People are frustrated. They think the system's been rigged because they've been told their whole life through, by the way, all these amazing opportunities to go to college, to go to school, to get an amazing education. They've been told their whole life how much their life sucks, all while enjoying the privilege of that and what capitalism brought them. And the problem with capitalism is there's too much government in capitalism. Because power likes money and money likes power. He doesn't care what it costs because it's not his money. It'll matter to you. It'll matter to you and me when you look up and you start to see, oh, my God, it wasn't just what they thought it was. They're having to come again and again and ask for more money. And eventually, what happens? They run out of other people's money. Are you ready for that? I'm not ready for that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens, fastest growing over 50 organization in the country. It is amazing what they do. They're out there protecting your interest for things like Social Security reform, protecting our borders with common sense immigration law, fixing Medicare. Whether you want to believe it or not, there are plenty of people that are lobbying against a lot of the things you believe in. So why not have somebody out there working hard for you? On top of that, they offer all kinds of amazing, absolutely incredible deals for retail, restaurant, hotel discounts. You're going to get some of the best, most incredible travel, insurance, you name it, they've got it. And let me tell you what the price is. Free. Free, free, free. It's 1 year. It's free. It's on me. You go to amac.us/Chad. You're going to receive 1 year absolutely free. amac.us/Chad. There's no cost. There's no tricks. There's no credit card required. It is a free membership. amac.us/Chad or call 888-355-1668. 888-355-1668. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Like stuff. A lot of stuff's trending. Let's start as a Google. The world of magic and fun. David Ayres trending. You don't know who he is? You should. He was the backup to the backup to the backup to the backup goalie who happened to be not a player but an emergency goalie who would fill in for either team in the NHL if both their goalies got hurt. And lo and behold, he got a win the other night, playing for the Carolina Hurricane. Kirk Douglas left most of his $80 million fortune to charity. People are like, why didn't he give it to his kids? Because Michael Douglas is worth $300 million. He's fine. He's fine. Absolutely. Mad Mike Hughes is trending. If you guys don't know who he is, Mad Mike Hughes is a homemade astronaut, or excuse me, was a flat earther, homemade astronaut enthusiast who was over the weekend killed tragically when he shot his homemade rocket in Barstow with him inside of it, trying to reach the crazy altitude of 5,000 feet to show the world that the world was indeed flat. But, unbeknownst to him, his steam-powered rocket took off so fast from the back of the flatbed truck it was on that it ripped his parachute. It went straight up in the air, and 10 seconds later, went straight back down, killing him. Still no word on Flat Earth. The Dow trending, getting beat today, as is all of the financials across the globe with the fear of the coronavirus. Absolutely. Katherine Johnson, she was a hero. Many people probably have no idea who she was, but if you watched the movie Hidden Figures, she was the pioneering mathematician who helped send the first astronauts to the moon, has passed away at age 101. NFL Combine starts in a couple weeks. People taking a look. And, yes, kids, India. Why is that? Because Trump is in India today doing Trump-like stuff, having fun, being very Trumpian in India.
Namaste. Namaste. And hello to India.
Namaste. You a stay. I a stay. We all a stay right here.
We are in the early stages of discussion for an incredible trade agreement to reduce barriers of investment between the United States and India.
Nah, I don't know if that's really happening. I mean, it sounds good, but is it really there? Don't think so. But he's having fun, checking things out, doing what Trump does. Vegetarian. So the person who's going to essentially be with him, right? The first thing he's doing his thing. But remember, this is very much a non-meat eating society. So the person that will be kind of the de facto tour guide who is going to be running everything over there in India is a lifelong vegan. And the worry is, what do they feed Trump? Because, as we all know, Trump is the exact opposite. He's a meat eater with very little vegetables involved in his life. Very little vegetables involved. So we'll see how this goes. This would be my problem if I was to ever be president, is because I have like 6 things I eat, right? Like I have six things. That's it. No more. Right? Can I get vanilla ice cream? Can I get Reese's peanut butter cup? I'll have to survive on sweets. Can we make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? No, you got to try it. It'll be an insult if you don't eat their food. I don't want to eat their food. So we'll see how that goes today. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program. Speaking of Trump, apparently he wants to make sure there is nobody around him that is quote unquote disloyal or have any questions of loyalty. We'll talk about that. The consent app. What is that? Oh, yeah, kids. We live in that day and age. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Joe Biden now hitting harder on Sanders' electability.
I don't think he can beat Donald Trump and keep a Democratic Senate, get a Democratic Senate and keep a Democratic House.
Biden making what could be his last stand in the Palmetto State. It's do or die for the former vice president. Biden's camp saying since the start that the road to the nomination would come through South Carolina. Now we wait to see if his firewall will hold here.
I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting. Absolutely, it's going to be interesting to see what takes place. If this is a possibility. Can he stave it off? I don't know. I don't know. Joe's got a chance tomorrow night. Now, James Clyburn's come out and endorsed him, so that'll help him, right? The most influential Democrat in the state. So I don't know what it means. I mean, if he doesn't win, because Warren is done. Warren will get through South Carolina. I think her whole goal was to hope, and you might as well just stick around, I mean, till Super Tuesday, but it's over with. And maybe that's their game. Maybe the game that the Democrats are saying, look, everybody needs to stay in position as hard as you can and fight through Super Tuesday because we can't have Bernie holding all of this. We just can't. We've got to be able to absolutely 110% hold on as hard and as long as possible to try to make this a brokered convention. Because he runs away. If he wins South Carolina, he's going to crush it on Super Tuesday. And at some point in time, the writing's going to be on the wall. And even if he doesn't get to the 1,900 plus that he needs, if he's at 1,700 or 1,800, nobody else has won 1,000 of him, and you take it away from him, oh, hell will break loose. Hell will break loose. Speaking of hell breaking loose, Trump upset by what he sees as disloyalty amongst people in and around the White House and the administration is starting now to close ranks.
Details an effort inside the White House to purge the U.S. government of anyone it deems insufficiently loyal to President Trump. Quote, the Trump White House and its allies over the past 18 months have assembled detailed lists of disloyal government officials to oust and trusted pro-Trump people to replace them, according to more than a dozen sources familiar with the effort who spoke to Axios. The White House has not commented.
Yeah, no, it's not a shocker. I mean, that's what, first of all, can I just say this? Any president wants to surround themselves with people, especially, it's one thing if like Hillary's coming in, a lot of people in and around there were probably good with Obama. Trump is a different beast altogether, as will Bernie, right? Bernie would probably purge a majority of Trump's people if he was to go and win. Same thing with Biden. So do I find this to be shocking? No. The fact that it's coming out, again, it's like everything that comes out with Trump is 10 times bigger. We talk about all his pardons, and then you go and you look at like the past, 10 presidents and see how many, some of them pardoned up to 2,000. He's commuted or pardoned, I think, a total of 35. But they act as if it is a nonstop pardon machine with Trump. And it's not.
A list that has been updated not just over the last few months since impeachment. This has been going on for at least a year and a half, a couple of years. This is everything from broad strokes concerns and suspicions about people who are holding these jobs, and in some cases, very detailed point-by-point, explicit kind of airing of the grievances about some of the people who are holding these jobs and why there's a feeling they should be removed.
Yeah, you know what? You go work at a place today, right? You come in and they say, hey, so-and-so, you get to run this thing. This is your thing, right? What are you going to want to do? You want to put people around you. So you're coming in, and as you come in, you start to look around and go, all right, I got to be smart about this. I want to put some people around me that I can trust because maybe they didn't want me. And the new people here that I brought in, they're going to realize that there's some people out there that is, as far as the old management goes, are definitely pissed about the new management. So I'm going to try to protect myself somewhat. That's the reality of it. Could Trump go too far? Of course he could. But if this was any other president, would we hear stuff like, no, that's right. Because everything with Trump is magnified tenfold. Absolutely. Just magnified. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Coronavirus spreading fast.
But as the fear of a possible pandemic grows, so is misinformation and disinformation. New reports of unfounded conspiracy theories are apparently being spread via Russian-linked social media accounts, with false claims that the United States is behind the outbreak. Moscow denies any hand in it.
Of course they do. So let me get this right. Last week it was Bernie, and Trump when it comes to Russia. Like, Bernie, you can come out and say all the things you... I continue to explain to people. They don't care who's president. They do not care who is president. All they want to do is sow mistrust and political discourse and anger in our country. And they're doing a good job of it. They do not care outside of anything. They don't care if Bernie's president. They don't care if Trump's president. Nothing's changed. They still do the things that they want to do. They're still going to be this way. They've been doing it forever. We've been doing it forever. And we'll continue to do it. We will sow mistrust over there. We'll do everything we can to make Putin's life uncomfortable if we possibly can. Same thing with other places that we try to get ourselves into. China, North Korea, things of that nature. Let's see here. Venezuela. Cuba. You see where we're going? We all do this. We all do this. So, but the misinformation that's out there, there's a lot of information. I don't know who trusts who about any of this. What I do know is it is ugly and it is nasty and it is growing. And we're now in a position where you look up and all of a sudden you're closing town after town in Italy. Some 50,000, and the questions being asked about, wow, how big is this?
What is a pandemic, and how do we know when we're in the midst of one?
Well, a pandemic is when you have an infectious disease that is being consistently and sustained transmission from person to person through a wide range of regions, countries, and areas of the globe. So, for example, in China, it's an epidemic because it's concentrated in China. But once you start to get other countries in which you have sustained transmissibility, then you really have the makings of a pandemic. Pan meaning wide. It's widely distributed.
Yeah. That right there is Anthony Fauci. He's an immunologist. I've been watching this show called, I think it's called Contagion, or it's not, there was a movie called Contagion, but it's a show talking about the spread of, you know, or maybe it's called Pandemic, of things that could come and hit you. And it goes over things like what took place. You know, World War I was kind of the precursor to the influenza outbreak that killed so many, that killed more of World War I and World War II combined. That's how big that was. What you had were people that were sick, that were going back to their countries after the end of World War I. And it took a long time for the thing to spread because we don't have what we have today, which is modern technology, i.e. planes, boats to get us places in a much faster way. I mean, there's a lot of things that we have nowadays. We get people to and fro in a much easier way. So it spread much slower and it took much longer, but it killed 50 to 100 million people. I don't think this is going to be that, but the reality is you're looking at a situation right now, there's no patient zero, but Italy has 50,000 people in the northern part of its country that are quarantined. Is this getting to the point where we're saying maybe this is a pandemic?
We are clearly at the brink of that because our fate is going to be determined by the ability of countries outside of China. And now they're starting to develop sustained transmission from person to person to person. So when you get countries like Japan and South Korea that have these cases that are person to person to person without any real ability to point to where it came from, that's the makings of a pandemic. And if you have multiple countries, then the horse is out of the barn, and it's going to be very difficult to prevent more cases from coming here.
And again, 50,000 people in Italy quarantined. No idea where patient zero has come from. And it's not just the human toll. Think of the financial toll. Look at the markets today. Absolute getting crushed. And while it'll bounce around for the next couple days while they're trying to figure it out, it is affecting several different sectors.
The price of these stocks have to come down because this quarter particularly, it seems many companies, it started with travel, leisure, and it's spreading to things like technology and chip makers because there just may not be the demand that people thought there would be before the coronavirus started.
Yeah. And they're estimating about $250 to $300 billion that will be lost globally because of this. GDP in a place like Japan, which likes to see their GDP, which was slowing down anyways, but they like the 8s and the 10s for the growth, are looking at 4.5. And if this thing spreads anymore, that trickle-down effect will be felt everywhere. Not to mention what may take place in Japan this year, who has spent how much? $24 billion getting ready for the Olympics? The talk of, can we move it? Should we cancel it? Yeah. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Lightstream. So if you're most people out there, right, you've got some sort of credit card balance, right? You're looking around, you got a credit card balance, and you're saying to yourself, what am I doing? Average credit card interest rate, about 20%. Right? 20%. Don't do that. It's so easy to lower your interest rate and save with Lightstream. Get a credit card consolidation loan with them with rates as low as 5.95% APR with AutoPay. Right? $5,000 to $100,000. You can get it sometimes as early as the same day you apply. But everybody I talk to, they're like, hey, I got it within 48 hours. It was easy to. I continue to tell you how easy it is. There's no fees, and you can do it right there from your phone. It is simple and easy, and just for listening, I'm going to give you a special interest rate discount. How do you do it? You go to lightstream.com/Benson. That's lightstream.com/Benson. Subject to credit approval. Rate includes 0.50% auto pay discount. Terms and conditions apply. Offer subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/Benson for more information. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
Consent apps. What do you guys think of the whole consent concept? Think of it as a digital prenup for a date, a short little smartphone video that says, I give my consent.
Consent is what we always want. We always want security. We always want somebody to, so I guess that is good.
I'd rather just talk to a person than do it over the internet.
It could be for right then and there, but you never know what's in the drink he just gave you. So he might have gotten consent, but you don't know what happens after that.
See? Even with consent in an app, which is where we are today, it doesn't matter because that might have been for now. But what about next week? Or what about, so what does that even mean? It's not worth it. It's like, is it worth it every time? Do I have to bring a lawyer now when I date? Is that what it has to be? Video it? I mean, it's the apps. They all sound good. Everybody's trying to CYA themselves. But at the end of the day, you ask any good lawyer, they'll get something over if they need to. They'll break something. They'll get through something. It doesn't matter.
These apps are so brand new that a lot of the folks we spoke to here in these bars hadn't tried them yet.
I mean, I guess in the long run, though, it kind of helps maybe.
How would you feel if somebody pulled out the app before and taped you say it's okay?
I mean, I guess if I'm giving consent, then I would have to be okay with it,
It's a good idea, so that way you get the consent, so that way people can't go back and say this was rape or this was anything,
No good for me.
Yeah. Why is it no good for you? Right? But it is crazy, right? Because the thought process now in dating, I saw a thing last week, I read this article that says people are over online dating. They're trying to meet. And they're having bigger and bigger meetups and, like the lunch thing and the, speed dating, everything's come back. I'm like, really? What do you do anymore? It's like the fear factor of just even engaging in a conversation with somebody who may think in this day and age, especially I fear for like my son who's 9 in this day and age where it's not what's said, it's how it's taken. And if somebody feels that you are saying something or doing something untoward in their mind, even though it's not meant that way, you could still be in trouble. Oh, goodness me. This is why robots. I keep telling everybody, this is why robots.
Because you never know which way it's going to go nowadays. There's a lot of people that deserve to be drugged through the dirt for this, but, not for a bad date.
Yeah. And we've seen that with stars. Bad dates, right? We've seen that with stars indeed. I was talking to Harvey Weinstein, and again, all the stuff that's happening, the chaos and the craziness. But I was talking to our legal expert, Monica Lindstrom, and I said to her, how do you feel about this? And she says, honestly, if you know nothing of him, it would be hard based on the evidence to completely say that this guy is this scumbag rapist based on a lot of the evidence that went against the people, including continuing to pursue a relationship with him, including the fact that he did things to them and they didn't. I mean, there's just a lot of things, but the outside noise is too great. So it's a weird thing. Even a consent app in this day, though, what does that get you? It gets you what you think is, oh, I'm totally fine, but still think you could be in trouble. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Let's sing.
Finish the lyrics. See me banging on the counter?
It wasn't me.
Saw me banging on the sofa?
Wasn't me.
And the screams getting louder?
Wasn't me.
So everybody
Wasn't me.
Finish the lyrics. In West Philadelphia, born and raised.
Mate, what are you doing?
Finish the lyrics. Tell me something, girl. Are you happy in this modern world?
Or do you need more?
Wow. Keep going.
So hardcore.
Wow, you're really good. Keep going.
Yeah, this lady's got a voice, right? She's got a hell of a voice. She's not done.
Wow, you're really good. Keep going.
I'm off the deep end. Watch as I dive in. I'll never meet the ground.
Wow.
Crash through the surface where they can't hurt us. We fall from the shallow now.
Yeah, how about that? Her name is Aubrey. Charlotte Aubrey. And she just belted it out in the subway there. Gotta love that. Is she the next one? Remember the voiceover guy with his deep voice? But he was a bit of a mess. She seems to have it more together. You never know what may happen. Huh? Did they find a star? That's a hell of a voice. Not bad looking. Could be modern cool, right? Take her. Next thing you know, get her an album deal. She gets to quit her job and live out the dream. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program as well, and check out the Instagram, Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Sanders indeed won a smashing across-the-board victory. He won among men and women, college graduates and non-college graduates, liberals and moderate/conservatives, union and non-union members, people who decided early and people who decided late. In short, Sanders crushed it. And in doing so, he may have crushed the hopes of a Democratic establishment desperate to stop.
How much money are they spending on Super Tuesday? Very interesting. Bloomberg, 160 million. Steyer, about 40. Sanders, about 11. Klobuchar, about 2. Warren and Gabbard. Biden and Buttigieg, nothing. This is huge. The establishment is terrified. They are terrified that a 78-year-old socialist from Vermont may grab himself the top place on the ticket. You understand than that, kids? People grabbing on than that? You're going to have a 78-year-old socialist taking on a 70-something capitalist, to see who gets to be the president of the United States. Will we have a second term of Trump, or will this be it? Will we have a new left-leaning world? I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. It is. It is very interesting. It's what the media would want, right? If you're going to have a battle, you want to watch Godzilla and King Kong. Movie's coming out next year, by the way. If you're going to have a battle, why not have the biggest monsters fight it out? Trump and Bernie are polar opposites, minus the fact that they do a lot of the same things when it comes to campaigning, right? They're both anti-establishment, but one doesn't want to blow up. One wants to clean house. The other one wants to blow everything up, right? He wants to blow it all up. One is super capitalistic. The other one, ain't so much. But both of them had the establishment terrified. The Republicans have done the best that they possibly can to deal with what they have in Trump. And some of his stuff has been good. Some of it, not so much. And I think they could all do without the headaches of the tweets and the craziness. But the reality is, when it comes to Bernie, man, Bernie, he is not a Democrat. He may be sitting at the top of their ticket. And what is he going to do? They're ready to take over. That's the way he sees it. He sees his people ready to rock and roll this revolution. And he's coming hard.
Whatever your political view may be, the people are sick and tired of lies, corruption, and fraud.
Well, you've got it. Got a chance now to see what it would look like with a socialist and a capitalist in a nation that is built on capitalism. He bounced the minute he knew he was going to win, headed straight for Texas.
On television, they say, Texas is a conservative state. It's a red state. I don't believe it for a minute.
It's still a red state. And the other thing that you have to take into account, what takes place down ticket? Because the one thing we like to do is we like balance, right? We do. We love balance. And we love to screw with people. We have 3 co-equal branches of government. Each one of them will say we're all co-equal, but the reality is each one of them would like to think they're a little bit more than the other. But we like balance. So is this going to hurt down ticket? Whereas people may say, well, I got to get rid of Trump, but what I can't do is put this guy in here with essentially a free run of everything. And no, I can't do that. So what I can do is make sure that Bernie gets in and we get rid of Trump, but make sure the Republicans take back the House and strengthen the Senate so we don't have to worry about crazy ideas getting done. Okay. Interesting. It's a possibility. I don't know how much of that's going to be real. But the reality is he's not going anywhere anytime soon. People are happy. They're ready for this. They're ready to come hard. But as much as Trump is the divider, you'd be a fool to think that Bernie Sanders is somehow magically going to be the uniter. It's not going to happen. What Bernie wants, last night he's on 60 Minutes talking about Castro. He's on 60 Minutes talking about Castro again. And you're just going, really?
He educated the kids, gave them health care, totally transformed the society.
We're very opposed to the authoritarian nature of Cuba. But, it's unfair to simply say everything is bad. When Fidel Castro came into office, you know what he did? He had a massive literacy program. Is that a bad thing, even though Fidel Castro did it?
There's a lot of dissidents imprisoned in Cuba.
That's right, and we condemn that. Unlike Donald Trump, let's be clear, I do not think that Kim Jong-un is a good friend. I don't trade love letters with a murdering dictator. Vladimir Putin, not a great friend of mine.
Vladimir Putin. Not a great friend of mine. But it's okay because he taught everybody how to read, right? It's okay because they all have medical, even though they're starving, and there are people that have been tortured and beaten to death. But that's cool, right? Because they got that. We can compartmentalize the bad with the good. No, it doesn't get to work that way. Go back and look at a lot of stuff that Hitler did, right? Go back and look at a lot of the stuff that he did when he first took control. From the Autobahn to the people's car. You could say, well, he did some good there. He got the Autobahn. He helped build a lot of stuff. He helped with manufacturing. No, you can't. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't. He screams Scandinavia, but it doesn't feel that way, does it, kids? He screams Scandinavia, but it doesn't feel Scandinavian when you're talking about Noriega, when you're talking about Castro, when you're talking about Hugo Chavez, when you're talking about taking your honeymoon to the Soviet Union. Let's use this in modern times for kids to understand. Imagine today you get married and you say to self, I want to go to North Korea for my honeymoon. Oh. I want to go to Cuba, 1980s style, for my honeymoon. Or Venezuela. Yeah, that's just it. I don't know. Does he have a chance? Absolutely. I think he does. And if you don't think he does, you're a fool.
Republicans are salivating at the prospect of Bernie Sanders, a Democratic socialist, as the Democratic nominee. I would simply caution them. I remember an awful lot of Democrats very excited at the prospect of Donald Trump as the Republican nominee in 2016. That didn't work out too well.
Exactly.
No, it didn't. So be careful what you wish for. But we do this amazing thing where we check each other in a lot of ways. We will give you certain things. Oh, you can have the presidency back, but by the way, we're going to make sure that eventually we give the House and the Senate, or put them in positions where getting anything through would be insane and just not possible. Just not possible. That is a possibility. But what about Trump being super divisive? You don't think Bernie is?
If you want to vote for Bernie Sanders because you feel good about his program, because you don't like the banks on Wall Street, or you don't like pharmaceuticals, that's completely legitimate. I understand that. If you're voting for him because you think he'll win the election, because he'll galvanize heretofore sleepy parts of the electorate, then politically you're a fool.
James Carville is right. He's right. And many of his biggest opponents will not come from the right side of the aisle. There are a lot of people on the left side of the aisle that will fight hard against Bernie. You got South Carolina tomorrow. Super Tuesday is a week from tomorrow. Saturday, they have the primary in South Carolina. So you got one debate. Then they'll have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to battle it out some more. But right now, at this moment, at this time, Bernie's definitely got the momentum. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Computer systems and cars. Guess what, kids? The new normal. I have two cars. I have an older car, which I have no computer systems whatsoever, and I love it. And I've got a newer car, which has all the widgets and the gadgets and the whole 9 yards, and I love that as well. And I also have Car Shield to protect me in the case of something goes wrong. And they'll cover both. Car Shield has affordable protection plans that can save you thousands for covered repair, including computers, GPS, electronics, and so much more. And customizable plans starting as low as $99. So you call them. It's not one blanket thing. You call them and say, look, I've got this. What's the best thing to help me? They'll tell you what it is. All the plans come with 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. The shop is the shop that you choose. They get them paid directly. You pay a small deductible, and away it goes. How do you get to them to say, hey, I want to be another customer? Over 1 million customers. Simple. Call CarShield. 800-CAR-6000. Mention code Benson. Or visit carshield.com. Use code Benson. When you do, you save 10% right there just for using that code. 800-CAR-6000. Code Benson. Or carshield.com. Code Benson saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
The opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange signaled concerns among investors about coronavirus outbreaks in Italy and South Korea. The Dow began trading 950 points lower before a slight recovery following a plunge in global stock markets. Oil, travel, and luxury goods are among industries affected by fears of the virus's spread beyond China, where it originated and where it curtailed economic growth.
Yeah, so think about the trickle-down effect, and we'll touch on a little bit, but the trickle-down effect that comes with stalling globally, in particular a place like China, second largest economy, with all of the goods that are manufactured there and not being able to get those goods here. And it's not just electronic components and things of that nature. There are other things, from that little bit that your plumber needs to so many other things. This could be ugly for sure. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me today. Memorial.
The memorial at Staples Center in downtown Los Angeles.
God, I love you guys.
It's where Kobe Bryant gave that now famous speech when he retired in 2016, and where two of his jerseys, numbers 8 and 24, are retired. Staples Center opened in 1999, 3 years into Bryant's career as a Laker, and it's where he won all 5 of his NBA championships, and it's where 20,000 fans, friends, and family members will gather to say goodbye one last time. The celebration of life will be broadcast all over the world.
Mamba out.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. No word if his wife's going to show. I mean, I would assume she might. They've already laid both of them to rest. They've already been buried, and the funeral was done a few weeks ago. This is for the fans of Kobe. This is for the city of Los Angeles, and it was a zoo. It was a zoo. I mean, just the amount of people that are out there today. Because you got to think, for as many as are going to get inside, so many people will show up just to be around it, to celebrate, to remember. And some people are still trying to figure out how this happened, how this absolutely happened. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Man, I tell you what, this right here, many of you will remember this as a child growing up, something like this. But in this day and age, what are you thinking?
A Florida teacher has been suspended after she reportedly punished a student by washing out his mouth with hand sanitizer. The Palm Beach Post reports that Polo Mark Middle School suspended science teacher Guillette Duhart after an investigation. According to investigators, on October 14th, the student was talking loudly in class in the Wellington, Florida school when Duhart suggested he should have his mouth washed out with soap. The teacher then reportedly asked the student to approach her, and 6 student witnesses say she pumped hand sanitizer into his mouth.
What are you thinking in this day and age? First of all, as a teacher. Now, we didn't have the hand sanitizer pump soap when I was a kid, but you did something wrong. Man, I had friends, and you're going to get your mouth washed out with soap. I don't thought that was a good idea, but parents gravitated toward that thing big time.
The paper reports that Duhart admitted to holding the bottle near the student, but claims that he pumped the sanitizer into his own mouth. According to the investigation, the student left the room, and when he returned, Duhart said he could rinse out his mouth in the bathroom. The Palm Beach Post reports that after the investigation, Duhart was handed a 10-day suspension without pay.
A lot of witnesses. I don't know if he pumped it in there or not, but man, I remember I got my mouth washed out on a few occasions. It's usually for saying a bad word. What's that movie, The Christmas Story, right? The Christmas Story, where Ralphie gets his mouth washed out with, all of them get their mouth washed out with soap, because it's just certain things that seem to be like, okay. You look back on it now in the woke world that we live in, you're not allowed to do stuff like that. You can't do something like that nowadays. You go to jail forever. You can't. There's just no way you could do something like that. You just can't. That's totally dumb. Back in the day, man, because Jack's asked me before, did you really get your mouth washed out with soap? That's gross. Yeah. Looking, it wasn't the worst thing, right? It wasn't like it wasn't like they were forcing you weren't getting waterboarded, but it felt like it when you're like 9 or 10 and you dropped the F-bomb in front of your mom, or you said something that you heard on the, out, you had no idea what it meant. And you said something, you repeated it, you went all parrot. And you're like, oh, no. And mom's like, wait. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Text the program. You can go to the chadshow.com, right? Go there. Check out all the stuff that we got, including where you can grab the podcast if you miss it. You can tweet at us at Chad Benson Show. You can text the program, 323-538-CHAD, 323-538-2423. What do you think about Bernie? Be 100% honest. Are you for him? Are you against him? Let it play itself out. Do you think the Dems are going to figure out a way to screw him over? Is that a possibility? I think it is a possibility. I find it highly unlikely. And I continue to say, if this was anybody but Trump and the Dems screwed Bernie over and he was going against just a run-of-the-mill Republican, I think he'd run as a third-party ticket. But I don't know if he'll do it with Trump being president. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Bernie, on the other hand, did his job. He got more than a majority of that 67%. That is the name of the game. It is pretty much over unless that changes. I was reading last night, Brian, I know you're a history guy too. I'm reading last night about the fall of France in the summer of 1940. And the general, Renault, calls up Churchill and says, it's over. And Churchill said, how can it be? You got the greatest army in Europe. How can it be over? He said, it's over.
I don't know if it's over yet. I think South Carolina will be interesting this week. Tomorrow night they have a debate. Bloomberg may have another chance to right the ship a little bit. Super Tuesday is where it's really at. But with the growing momentum Bernie has, we're very much a country that likes to get on a bandwagon. Is it a possibility that he does really well and actually beats Biden in South Carolina? If that happens, it is over. If that happens, it is absolutely over. Clyburn, the most influential Democrat in South Carolina, threw his support behind Biden. But if somehow Bernie manages to take the momentum he has from the first two caucuses, and then the primary, and this make it the fourth, and he manages to eke a win here, Super Tuesday, he may pick up 800 or 1,000. He may be putting this thing to bed, and you will have what the media would love, by the way. Media would love the socialist versus the uber capitalist, and Trump versus Bernie. And what you also have is two people that are completely reshaping their parties. Even though Bernie is not a Democrat, let's all remind everybody he is an independent, and Trump is a Trumpocrat. That's the reality of it. So it'll be very interesting to see how this thing plays itself out. The media would love that, though. They would absolutely love that. As for the Democrats,
sounds a lot like political suicide, and I think we need a psychologist to understand that. I want to understand what the psychology could be behind the Bernie alternative's rise. I mean, this would seem like the hitting the bottom is the way most people begin to recover. I mean, this would be this big in Nevada for Bernie. If there's going to be a wake-up call, maybe this would be it, if that's the way it heads.
I don't know. I don't know what it looks like. They're going left. Who would have thought that Obama would be a moderate, but he is for all intents and purposes. And at what point in time does he stand up and say, I got to make my voice heard? Because, and I think that's going to happen sooner rather than later. I think what he's going to do is he's going to wait till this weekend. And if Biden doesn't have it, he's going to throw all his power that he has, and if any influence he still has in the party, behind Buttigieg, But we'll have to see how it plays out tomorrow night. But it's going to be very, very interesting for sure, because it's not just Bernie. And I continue to tell people, it is also the down ballot, down ticket, right? So you go and you look. You're going to energize people to come out and vote, who may otherwise stay home because they're not thrilled with Trump, but they really don't have any emotion towards a Biden or a Buttigieg or an Elizabeth Warren. So maybe they don't come out, maybe they do. But the older generation tends to be pretty consistent. And if they come out and they look like Bernie's going to win, it could adversely affect all those down ballot races where people would say, well, even though he may win, I've got to keep him in check. I've got to keep him in check. We're going to have to figure out how to keep the House close and make sure the Senate stays the way it is, or maybe even flip the House and keep the Senate, because there's no way that we can allow this guy to just come in here and talk about doing all of these things to the tunes of several $1 trillion a year and reshaping what made America America. Speaking of what made America America, crazy ideas. They don't always work. Case in point, Mad Mike.
Nicknamed Mad Mike Hughes, he said he wanted to fly to the edge of outer space to see if the world is round. Hughes built and boarded a steam-powered rocket over the weekend. A video by TMZ shows it blasting off from private property in the Barstow, California desert. A parachute tearing off. It hurtles straight up, then in about 10 seconds, the rocket plummets straight down and crashes. He was 64. Hughes was also a limousine driver who held the Guinness World Record for longest limousine ramp jump, 103 feet.
Yeah, so you got that going for you, right? Gone but not forgotten. So check this out. This guy was totally a flat earther. This is my beauty of America. Crazy ideas. Don't always go well. There's a reason we have a Darwin Award. This is one of those things. Here's your reward. So there's a show coming out on the Science Channel that he was supposed to be featured as homemade astronauts. Right? So this whole thing, this guy thought, Mad Mike, he thought, the Earth is flat. I'm going to get up there and I'm going to take photos to show the world that the Earth is flat and that it's being guarded and that none of this stuff is real. Right? None of this stuff is real. Nothing. Right? No, he was only going to go 5,000 feet in the air. I'm not quite sure if he's been in an airplane, but the last time I was in an airplane, it went a little higher. But he wanted to show the world that the Earth indeed was flat. And he went straight up in the air, and he went straight down. And it was, knowing that that parachute that was going to help you was gone, ugh. That's what makes America great. Also makes America go, is something like that. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. You can text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. We need to watch what's going on with the coronavirus. I continue to tell people that I'm looking first and foremost at what the potential may be with the Olympics. That is still dangling out there.
The Olympic Committee apparently deciding to postpone the training of tens of thousands of volunteers in Tokyo for this summer's games, although they're insisting the Olympics themselves will still be held.
July 24th, it kicks off. They got 9 million plus visitors last year from China. They postponed the Tokyo Marathon, which is one of the big qualifiers there that everybody wanted to go to. They're now, slowly but surely, saying that they spent $24 billion on this. On top of that, how many other billions of dollars have been spent by TV conglomerates and people around the globe to get ready for this? They expanded the airports. They've expanded hotels and added more rooms. They've done all of these things, and this could get ugly. But what's it really look like? That is just it. How much can we believe China in a lot of this stuff?
You know, there's been, for the last 4 or 5 days, a decrease in the number of new cases each day. But we also heard Xi Jinping, the Chinese ruler, at a Politburo meeting yesterday, said that the coronavirus has not peaked. You just cannot put those two pieces of information and say they're consistent. I think officials are just manufacturing numbers. They've changed the methodology twice this week, 3 times within the last 10 days. As you learn more about a virus, you sort of redefine what a case is. But nonetheless, there's a lot of deliberate falsification.
Yeah. Nobody trusts China at all. And why should you? They're talking about $250 billion lost globally because of this. Almost $300 billion. China's GDP is going to drop to 4.5%. And the spread of it's very, 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 very real. And when we talk about the global impact and people think about, you're thinking of numbers, you got to think of it 2 ways. The impact to individuals and to areas and regions and countries who are not set up for this when it comes to the medical side of it. Then there's the other side of it, which is the trickle-down effect into the economy.
Xi Jinping wants China to go back to work. And when you put employees back to work at a point where there really is no control of the virus, it's going to spread further.
And so right on top of each other. These
right
factories,
on top of each
they're
other.
pretty densely packed.
So what you're going to have is essentially there'll be an increase in output, and that'll make the GDP numbers look a little bit better, but then it's going to prolong the virus.
Yeah. How long? Don't know. They're talking well into next year, potentially, that this could go. That is insane. And what do they have? What is it really? How much can we trust them? I don't trust them. Do you?
The markets are not taking into account how serious this is. I think they're sort of putting too much faith in what Beijing says about this. And that's sort of natural. You know, that's
all we have to go on.
Yeah, all you have to go on. I mean, I believe that the regime is just not prepared to tell the truth. They're not allowing the World Health Organization team into Wuhan, and that means it looks like they've got something to hide.
Yeah. What is it? Don't know. Don't know. But look at what's going on in places like Italy, and that's scary when you think about they don't know how it got here. There's no link. There's no zero. This is something very real. And without patient zero, without figuring out how it got there, without some plausible, and you're talking about 50,000 people? Come on.
Italy now say that 5 people have died from the virus. It's risen to 219 very quickly.
That's what's really worrying is how quickly this has exploded. We've gone from like less than 5 cases at the end of last week to these 219 confirmed just now. Some 10 towns at the very least are under this quarantine with 50,000 people here in northern Italy, essentially trapped inside their towns that they still haven't identified who patient zero is, which means that they don't know how it got here. They don't know how it's spreading, nor how quickly it's likely to spread, nor even how widely it may have spread already.
Yeah. So, and the trickle-down effect, the economy, trickle-down effect of shutting down certain things, cutting off supply lines and supply chains that would come here, and how it affects everybody inch by inch, and you start to feel it. You'll start to feel it. Not now, but if it gets worse. And when you start to look at it, and you start to see that you're looking at 50,000 people essentially being cut off there in Italy, how fast we can go from point A to point B today, and what this thing really is, nuts. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program. Brand new from MyPillow. Soft, beautiful bath towels that really work. I mean that. They absolutely work. Extra soft, super absorbent. Luxury feel, luxury look, 5 designer colors. I love mine. My gray. I got gray ones. They're awesome. They're just, there's no cheap fillers or cheap softener crap. None of that stuff in there. It's 100% USA made cotton. And when you wash them, they are still amazing. A lot of times you buy towels that are really neat. You put them in there, they don't work, or they're not absorbent. And people are like, what's that supposed to mean? You ever had a towel where you go to dry yourself off and the towel doesn't really absorb it? It just kind of keeps it on the surface. And yeah, not with these. You're going to love these. 60-day money-back guarantee. 30% right now is what you get, 30% off. So simple, so easy. Go to MyPillow.com, check out the new radio listener special. You're going to save 30% on these amazing towels. All you have to do is enter promo code Benson or call 800-983-4975 and give them that promo code Benson. You get 30% off and a 60-day money-back guarantee. MyPillow.com, new radio listener special, 30% off. Enter promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Experiencing separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
What a crazy day. So we have Bernie battling it out, trying to turn blue states, bluer, red states, purple or blue, and become the president. Looks like he's got all the momentum. You got South Carolina debate tomorrow night. Harvey Weinstein found guilty on 2 counts. 1 count, which was the second count, which is guilty in criminal sexual act in the first degree, Miriam Haley. Count 5, guilty in rape in the third degree. The others, including first degree rape, which would have sent him to jail forever, he was found not guilty in. So what this looks like is he's probably going to do under 5 years. We'll see what the sentencing is like, but he is going to jail. He has been convicted, and he will be going to jail. So a lot of stuff. We'll have more fallout from that tomorrow. And again, today's also the day that the Staples Center will pay tribute to Kobe Bryant and his late daughter, as well as several others who died in that helicopter crash.
Billed as a celebration of life to honor Kobe and his daughter Gianna, who died along with 7 others in that helicopter crash about a month ago. 20,000 tickets were handed out to this event. An official program was not put out for the event, so we do not know for sure who exactly is going to attend.
Yeah, don't know. People wondering about his wife. That's the big one. Yes, no, maybe. She's not been seen in public at all.
We do not know for sure who exactly is going to attend. You can expect some of his friends, some people from his life, his teammates to be here, but a question whether or not his wife, Vanessa, who has put out some statements on Instagram since that helicopter crash, she has not made a public appearance, so all eyes will be on that stage to see if she does come out along with the 20,000 others to honor Kobe and Gianna.
Yeah, they're selling some of those. They're free passes or free tickets to get in there. And on the secondary market, if you were lucky enough to get one, they're selling for $1,000 a pop. How many tens of thousands were out there throughout the day will continue to be in there through the night. And it's again, in Los Angeles and worldwide, this is a huge thing because he was such a massive star. You forget how big of a star he was in places like China, everywhere the coronavirus is, places like China and Italy, because he grew up in Italy. So this will be, and was watched by so many people. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Let's look ahead to tomorrow night. Another debate. This is the last chance to make that impression, in particular in South Carolina, where this is it, I think, for the likes of, in particular, Warren, but really Biden. And he doesn't have a choice. This is absolutely it.
If he doesn't win South Carolina, he really doesn't have a path forward to the nomination. On the other hand, if he does win in South Carolina, prevail next week, that will give him some momentum going into Super Tuesday. And I think then the question will be, if Biden wins South Carolina, do you see some of the other moderates start to back away and set up a one-on-one contest with Bernie Sanders?
Possibility. That is very real. That is huge. And stop, again, just thinking of presidency and that. Think about the down ticket and what could come out of this if, even though they realize that maybe Bernie could beat Trump, and that's a big if. I'm not saying never. I'm not saying it's not possible. What would happen at that point in time to the down ticket where people may say, all right, you may be able to beat Trump, but we're going to check you in the Senate and we're going to check you in the House. So this isn't one of these crazy things. But Biden, this is it. I think he's been keying in on this. So you've got a debate tomorrow night. Saturday, you've got the primary. If he does really well, and remember, about a month ago, he was up by like 10, 15 points. Now It's a bit of a foot race, but mostly with a walker. So then you roll out. You got Sunday to relax, Monday and Tuesday, Super Tuesday. So within about 9 days, we can know everything. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me once again. Weinstein's guilty. Bernie wins another. Man, this Monday was chock-a-block full of stuff. Oh, yeah, and the coronavirus is everywhere. It's going to have to get a passport. Have a good rest of your day. We'll do it again tomorrow. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.